Hey guys, Big Weir, roadtoroot.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of coffee. I want to talk about Spanish bank runs today. Last night, a tweeted message went out to the 270,000 followers. This is all about the Catalonian secession from Spain, the north part of Spain. It's very wealthy. I think it makes up 20% of the Spanish revenue, the revenue of Spain, um, is breaking off and had a vote to break off, and now they're fighting with the main part of Spain about actually doing it. Is it legal? Is it not legal? There's all kinds of problems over there. But I saw this last night. Bank run imminent. Catalan separatists urge supporters to pull cash from ATMs on Friday morning. Pulling cash from ATMs destroys banks. Most likely, all the ATMs ran out of cash very quickly, and all of a sudden the bank said, "Oh yeah, we're having technical issues." Um, as you know from the Puerto Rico situation, cash is king when turmoil hits, and everybody should have some cash in their house. Um, think of I would say 2 weeks to a month's worth of cash. But the other problem is there needs to be cash on the other end. The people selling goods and products have to go to work, and cash disappears very fast, and people hoard cash because they think that's the only money. So it is very complicated, the whole situation. The reason I bring up Spain, my son is in Spain, and I texted him last night. And I said tomorrow morning he's in southern Spain, so it'll take a little while for that kind of thing to hit farther down south. But remember, these Spanish banks are all throughout Spain. It's like having Bank of America. There's a run on a bank in on the ATMs of Bank of America in Washington State, and how will that affect California? Well, Bank of America is Bank of America. If they run out of cash in one place, they're probably going to run out of cash in other places. What this is all leading to is a restriction on the amount of cash you can withdraw. So in Spain, at some point over the next couple of weeks and months, they're going to restrict the amount of cash you can withdraw from the bank, which will cause people to hoard cash again and cause lines at the ATMs, and it's just ugly. It's really ugly. And how this part of Spain is going to remove themselves from the larger part of Spain is completely unknown. And that's one of the big things I've been jumping up and down about is, it's all good and well to vote yourself out of a union, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do for money and banking and military and power and all that stuff that's controlled out of the central government? Um, you know, yes, emotions can, get the best of you, and you can say, "Oh, we want freedom! Yay, we're free!" But the reality is, we live in a nanny state these days. Every country lives in a nanny state. We are dependent. They made us dependent upon the federal government, and there's nothing we can do about it that is easy. So I'd say good luck to Catalan and Catalonia, and I hope it all works out, but I don't see how it will. The banks are already hurting. The IMF came out last week and said 9 banks, the IMF said, will struggle. And these are some of the biggest banks in the world, including Citibank, SocGen, UniCredit, Deutsche Bank, Barclays, Standard Chartered, Sumitomo Mitsui Financial, and Mizuho Group, and a lot of the Japanese banks. The banks are in trouble again, and they will be coming to a bailout necessity very soon. What day? I don't know what day. It could be in the next couple of weeks or next couple of months. I think it will happen this year, and we're running out of time this year, so it'll be really interesting how this all works out. The permanent exodus of Catalonia from Spain, is it even possible? I am not so sure without massive chaos. And here's why. Here's a great article that explains why. Independent Catalonia, practicalities of leaving Spain. Catalonian has much of the paraphernalia of statehood, but seceding from Spain, as Britain's Brexit process has shown, won't be straightforward. The immediate practical consequences of Catalan independence, like those of the UK crashing out of the EU without a deal, would have far-reaching implications for the region and its business and its people. But the biggest far-reaching implications are for the EU in general. Can this be done? And the EU will start begging Catalonia to, participate in the EU. But I don't know if they will or if they can. How much of the Spanish debt is allocated to Catalonia, and would they even take it? Are they going to leave Spain with all the debt and then just walk away and say, "Oh, we're tired of you guys. We're going to just start our own little world here"? It's very complicated. As with warnings of cities' firms bleeding a hard Brexit, industry is already alarmed. Half a dozen Spanish companies, including major banks, are moving their registered head offices to guarantee access to their domestic and wider EU markets. So Catalonia is already being stripped of all their potential profit centers. Despite claims by pro-independence campaigners that the EU would not want to lose a wealthy region that would rank 15th or 16th in the bloc in terms of GDP, Brussels had made clear that the region will not automatically become a member. It would have to apply, and acceptance would require an agreement of every other EU member state, including Spain, which in 2014 threatened to veto eventual Scottish secession bid precisely to discourage Catalonian independence. So for Catalonia to be included in the EU, you need Spain to approve it, which they, of course, never would. Catalonia has much of the paraphernalia of statehood. It has a flag, a parliament of its own, police force, and broadcast regulator, and it provides some of its own public services such as healthcare and education. But an independent Catalonia would need to establish its own central bank, inland revenue, air traffic control, and defense force, all of which are currently run out from Madrid, as are electricity and gas transportation and distribution. So yeah, Spain can just cut off their electricity and their gas. And what is Catalonia going to do? I mean, the whole thing is kind of crazy. Catalonia's government debt as a proportion of GDP has more than tripled since 2009, standing at 76 billion at the end of June. Its low credit rating means it cannot borrow directly on financial products, so depends on loans from the Spanish state. Outside of the EU, Catalonia would also have to establish its own border controls and customs service. The borders between Catalonia, Spain, and France would become external borders of both the EU and passport-free Schengen zone. Britain's apparent inability to devise a solution to precisely this problem for the border between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic that is practical, and the EU will accept and the EU will accept how complex such issues can rapidly become. An independent Catalonia would need to set up its own trading standards, regulators, and to start negotiating with its own trade agreements. Unlike Britain, it is not a member of the World Trade Organization, putting it at an instant disadvantage. Basically, it's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it'll be mass chaos. So, yes, it's very easy to raise your hand and say, I vote independence, I vote independence. But in today's society, in today's mix-up, screwed-up world where the federal government provides so much as far as the nanny state taking care of the people, they have made themselves into an entity that cannot be just thrown off easily. Brilliant move by the federal government to make the states dependent and reliant upon their survival. That's where we are in Spain. It's going to get a lot uglier and a lot messier. Catalonia has no plans of backing down on this, and the Spanish government clearly sees that they have the upper hand because they provide so many of the necessary services that any currently functioning society needs to run. Gas and electricity. How are you going to run a state without that? So yeah, lots more to come. My son is down by Gibraltar, southern Spain. I say get as much cash as you can out of the bank, because they're probably gonna put some kind of limits on the amount of cash people can pull out of the bank, and that just starts the ball rolling as everybody runs in to get cash. They don't want to say it out loud. They're trying to keep it out of the news. But yes, and I think everybody should have some cash on hand. And I know a lot of people are stretched. They say, well, I already have silver and I already have the cryptos, and now I have to get cash. Yeah, it would probably be a good idea to sell a little cryptos and sell a little silver to get yourself a couple weeks worth of cash. I think it's prudent. That would be prudent to do. Those of you who caught the Carrie Cassidy interview last night, it was very fun. We talked about a lot of the woo-woo stuff, the crazy stuff that happens in the world, in the extraterrestrial side of things. It was really fun to talk to her and to weave in the Road to Ruta theory on how all this stuff fits together. So check out that video. I have posted it. I've sent it out to the Road to Ruta email subscribers. And make sure you're a Road to Ruta email subscriber. Just go to roadtoruta.com, and there's a place to put in your email. It's a free service. And check out the Carrie Cassidy interview I just did. And we talk about the gold in the Grand Canyon, which is really cool. Later this afternoon, I'll be talking with Cliff High and J-Snip4, Joe, about the Three Amigos stuff. And there's a lot to cover, and it's crazy. So look forward to that. Joe will be posting that. Or maybe I'll post it. No, Joe will post it. I like Joe's postings. I think he's going to post it tomorrow morning. So check out that, and I'll talk to you guys later.